Because if it is true, wouldn't that be the equivalent of a woman leaving a child starving to death on their floor?
No, absolutely not.
No.
How dare you?
Hold on, can you answer the question?
No,
Yeah.
And be productive citizens of our society.
They should.
That is misogyny.
So ladies and gentlemen, you know what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you a few clips because I've seen the most unique defense of a baby in the belly of a mother, how to end the life to just be a defender of the lady.
Do you think that your age or your development as a human means you are more or less entitled to equal protection under law for basic human rights, including the right to not be killed?
If that development, when you say including the rights to not be killed,
that fundamental right to life. Let's just talk about only that right. Only that right.
Intuition pumping. So
just I don't know about intuition pumping. Let's just isolate it and just say just the right to not be killed, the right to not be the victim of homicide.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on what kind of deaths we're talking about. So here's a question. For instance, a lot of women have miscarriages, like without even knowing in the first few weeks of getting pregnant. Do you think that those embryos should be rushed to the hospital?
Well, if the embryo is dead, no. I mean,
okay, do you think that like any woman, do you think we should start locking every single woman that has sex into some sort of facility to check for early miscarriages like that? Because if it is true, wouldn't that be the equivalent of a woman leaving a child starving to death on their floor?
No, absolutely not. How dare you?
Hold on, can you answer the question?
How dare you?
I cannot understand that you can see both of these things the same. One is in your body, the baby is being born, you can just walk around cat poop and you can infect your baby in a way and it will affect your baby fetus, whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't exist. And then you want to compare that, well, you should have known that because now you purposely aborted your baby. I mean, doctors tell you, hey man, you can't have a cat if you want to get pregnant. It can be very dangerous if you don't clean that poop or keep it away. Then you cannot go eat sushi because that can affect the baby. Then again, you can't stress. Are you a smoker? Will you get really stressful if you don't smoke? Well, keep smoking. People, there are so many things. That is excluding all the accident that can happen to you. The first 3 months, so many people lose their baby. You have no idea.
What you're talking about right now is essentially the real genocide of children is all the children being miscarried right now in the first few weeks of development. That's
miscarriage to not feeding my child.
Why? It should be the same thing.
No, it's not.
Why is it not?
Well, you obviously
it's not because
oh my gosh,
it's not because
hold on. You're telling
every
me
woman in America
if you want to
who
extend
just
human protection all the
miscarriage,
way
it's
to
very
the very beginning, the very moment of conception. If you want to go all the way to the moment of conception, then that means that a woman who just whatever kind of miscarries in the first, second, or third week and doesn't realize it, that is the same as like, oops, somebody dropped their child down the stairs and they died.
No, that is absolutely not the same. Do you understand science and what happens in a miscarriage? An unattended miscarriage?
Unattended. That's why I'm saying we should lock them up after they have sex.
I don't think your argument doesn't make any sense.
My argument makes perfect sense.
No, if you truly lock a woman up, it's actually very heinous. It might be more likely to miscarry because of the stress.
I know it
which
hurts
is why I don't
because
think we should jail pregnant women, quite frankly.
The fact that he just made the point, you feel triggered, so I guess I won the debate. I'm like, really? That is how you do it? It's like you can never win a debate because they will always take the opposition totally on the opposite side as if that is the truth if they don't win.
If you believe that the moment of... No, you can't right now. If you believe that at the moment of conception you've created a unique human being, then that means that right now you should be in tears because at every moment women that are engaged... In fact, you could probably make the argument that sex without the intention of immediately going to a hospital is probably immoral because you're engaging in some activity that might result in the death of a child in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks because you don't know if you're going to have a miscarriage. Every single time a woman has sex, she probably be rushed to the hospital immediately after just to make sure that whatever fetus might be there is absolutely protected.
I don't think. Let me answer your question.
That is misogyny because what you're saying is women cannot gestate human beings in the womb and be productive citizens of our society.
They should.
That is misogyny.
So Destiny, I don't know
exactly what.
Hold on, let's let Lila go.
Okay, I don't know. I think your question might betray perhaps a little ignorance about how pregnancy works.
Okay, inform me,
because
please.
Because if a woman gets pregnant, rushing her to the hospital is not going to magically prevent a miscarriage that she may or may not have. Miscarriages happen for a lot of different reasons. And I would argue, especially for imprisonment, as an example, imprisoning a woman who's pregnant, which I'm opposed to, by the way, that additional stress could add to the miscarriage. So if you grabbed a woman after she had sex and might be pregnant and dragged her off to a hospital, that might actually induce stress in her. And
but there's also potentially things, there's behaviors a woman can engage in that
would
increase the risk of miscarriage, especially if she doesn't know she's pregnant, right? Maybe a woman drinks.
Say that one more time.
There
Destiny?
might be behaviors that a woman could engage in if she
Which
is
is
pregnant
why-
that would increase the
which
risk
is
of pregnancy.
why-
However,
which is why-
that means that
Destiny.
you could have sex with a
Destiny.
condom and with birth control, and you might actually get pregnant. So if
That's
a woman
right.
is
Let me
having
answer.
sex and she starts drinking or whatever, she could
That's
be
right.
murdering a child right then and there.
Destiny, let me answer that.
Yeah.
But he is trolling. And he likes pissing off people because he thinks, well, if he gets so angry, well, I guess I win. It's a tactic. And when you try to defend the weird things that they're saying, then you already lost the battle.
Would you like to go in detail? Because like if you like are advocating for abortion, I think you should be able to tell us what abortion really is.
My understanding is
Don't just be
prior
like,
to
"Oh, whatever."
Yeah. So I think generally there's like this whole slew of, I would call them like gore porn films, like Saw and stuff that they have doctors watching beforehand, so that when they go in, I think the goal is to inflict the maximum amount of gore and pain on the fetus before they take it out. So the first thing you do is you open the vagina up as much as possible, dilate the cervix.
Here, give
and
us
you
a
go
serious-
in,
give
and
us
the
a
goal
serious
is
answer
I
here.
think they start with little razors. It depends on how sensitive the baby is to pain, and they start to flay it alive in the womb, and then they pump like oxygen so the baby can start crying and everything. So
Why don't you
hear
give a
the screams
serious
of pain.
answer to
No,
a serious
because
question?
the argument of like what happens on some emotional level, you're totally conceding any
It's not
logical point.
emotional, it's
It
just the
absolutely is.
reality
You're
of what
conceding.
it
You're
is.
conceding because you're trying to win on some like emotionally different
No,
point.
it's
If you
about
want to
the
morally
reality.
grandstand on it, it's fine. But I'm not here to like mince words over like, oh well, this is what happens to the other boys.
Well, if
No,
you
it-
support abortion, I think you should have the balls.
I support
to at
cremation
least
as well,
tell
and
you
cremation would
what
be pretty
happens
bad if
in
I
an
thought that a
abortion.
corpse was a living
person's
person.
dead.
I also support embalming too, and that would also be really brutal
But
if it was
that's
a living
not a
person.
living human
Yeah, and I don't
being
agree that a
anymore.
fetus is a living human. Welcome to my
wait,
argument
okay,
from like
wait,
2
wait,
hours
see,
ago.
Destiny, are
This
they
goes
dead?
back to the argument that we
If
keep
they're
saying.
not wait, hold on.
You
hold
keep
on.
saying
If
it's
they're not-
consciousness, but you
if
just
they're
said it's
living,
not
are
a
they-
living human being.
Are they dead, Destiny?
It's not a
fetus-
person. It's not
is
a
fetus
person.
in a womb
That's not
who's
what you
12
said, though.
weeks dead, or is it alive?
It's not a person.
Is it? Wait,
That's
you
not what
just
he said,
said.
though. He
You
said-
just said it wasn't a living human being. So answer
In the sense
the
that
question.
it's not a person. You can try to trap me on semantics, but everybody in the audience knows what I'm saying.
Actually, we don't. That's why we want you to be clear with what you're saying.
We have recommendations, from the FDA that women who are pregnant should not drink alcohol.
No. You don't even know if you're
But
pregnant
see,
yet, though.
that's
That's the whole
wait a
that's the
minute,
whole
excuse
deal.
me.
That's different,
That's the
yeah.
difference between direct and indirect actions, though, right?
That's how, what is, it
So-
doesn't get much more direct than doing
No,
things to
if
your
a
body
woman
that
is
harms your
pregnant
child.
and does not know she's pregnant, say she just conceived and
Uh-huh.
she goes and celebrates her 20th birthday at a bar, 21st birthday at a bar, and she drinks a whole bunch, and she miscarriages, no one would say
You murdered your child.
You murdered your child.
Of course
no one
you
would say
did.
that. That's not that was not the intent.
It doesn't matter what the
There's
intent
a
is. You think
whole
the kid cares
difference
what the intent
between
is?
the
You've murdered a
intent.
child.
And he is right about that. It can happen to any freaking body. But you are also saying that if somebody drinks and he did not know that he had a baby, maybe the pill didn't work, you're like, no, you need to go check consistently if you're pregnant. And if we found out that you were and you accidentally killed the baby, present. And for the people that actually understand the sex and intimacy, that is a totally different thing. With all due respect, I don't really respect you for that. I don't think you should be even speaking about that because you're in a polyamorous relationship and you actually believe that everything between a man and a woman, or if a man and a man or a woman and a woman, because you do everything, it's just an exchange. And there is a value that certain people have that we don't agree with your point of view, and you come with your point of view in your lens, looking at this and telling us what we are supposed to feel about this.
If I walked outside and there was 100 steel beams and there was a ton of nails and all this shit laying on the ground and it was organized, and I walk over and I push over the steel beams, nobody would say, oh my God, you just destroyed a building. All the parts for the building are there. The blueprint
It would
might
still
be
be
there to build the
vandalism.
building.
It would still be vandalism.
Yeah, but it's not a building.
It is
And
part
I
of
agree
the
that
building.
killing a
That's-
fetus is killing a fetus, but it's not killing a human.
If I'm a
Hold
home
on,
builder,
the
it's
argument
still a
here is
building.
not whether or not a thing is being terminated. We agree it's whether or not that thing is the thing you're claiming it is.
It's part
you
of a
claiming
building.
that a thing has a blueprint or can develop the parts in the future or
I'm
has the
not
capacity
claiming
Hold on,
it.
to
let him
become a
finish.
thing.
Let
Science
Destiny
says
that
finish.
argument
Let Destiny
right
finish.
there betrays your whole point because you're conceding that it is not the thing itself. If I walk by a construction site and I start knocking stuff over, I haven't destroyed a building. The pieces of the thing are not the thing itself.
I think that
When
doesn't
does the
hold-
fetus get
Oh,
the-
Can I?
get
I'll
the
just answer
pieces?
that
When
really
it's
quick.
conscious.
If you go in and start burning the building before it's built,
Yeah.
that would be a problem, and it would be vandalism, and it would hurt the future
It would be
building.
vandalism and it would hurt a
and
future
would
building,
hurt
but it
the
hasn't
building.
destroyed a building, has it?
It definitely destroyed what you were building for
Well,
sure.
yes, but it didn't
So-
destroy a building, right?
Yeah, but this is the difference here.
No,
is when-
this is the whole
No,
subject of the
it's
debate.
not the
If
subject
you've
of the
destroyed
debate.
all the
Yeah.
materials for a building, have you destroyed a building?
A building is a
yeah.
thing. A human being is a person.
I think it doesn't match to what our conversation is
I think it matches
on a life
perfectly.
because
And that is why you need to be careful when they're trolling you or when they're bringing a point, because you're defending a point in their view. What she should have said, A building, if I stop building it with the workers, it will stay there forever. She should use something that changes with time. Let's say, for example, if I'm trying to create a cake, I build the cake is ready, and I put it in the oven. If I leave it there, even if nobody touches it, it will still become a cake or a burnt freaking cake, right? Simple. So that means you went in there, removed the cake from the oven. That is a good analogy. So the thing is, it's not that the baby is small and it doesn't have a conscience. My point would be, as long as I don't touch it, what would happen? If I stop that, if I do something, if I take action, I am stopping a life. I was trying to be charitable to a lot of people. I didn't want to hurt feelings. Do the abortion, 3 weeks, no, 3 months, it's okay. Life is Gucci. That's what I said as a Christian value person. Even if I didn't believe it, I just wanted people to not feel they did something wrong. You know how bad I felt when I was, I don't know how many weeks, but I don't think it was even 2 months. And I heard the heartbeat. And I asked the doctor, what the heck is that sound? And they told me, that's the heartbeat of your kid. It broke my brain. Instead of being happy, I remember almost all these people that I just told them, you're just killing a bunch of cells. It's okay. God will forgive you. But hey, it wasn't the baby. So instead of that moment was happy and beautiful for me, it made me realize that I destroyed my values so certain people can feel good about themselves. Don't go with the R. Okay, I understand the weird things, bad people. I understand that. I'm not defending that. Because the majority that do this are just people that are using it like a condom. That's why it was so normalized. It went almost to 9 months. Well, until he doesn't breathe a breath of fresh air, it isn't alive. You might have an 8-month baby in your belly and you can make a decision. That's like somebody in the sea. Oh, help me, help me. Well, he isn't on land. He is not alive. There's a shark right there. And the moment he jumps on a piece of boat, hey, he's alive. Do you understand? It feels like I just want to be able to click, because if I can click, I have the option to click. And that will decide what is life. I don't want to force people to keep a baby. I'm not saying that. But I know there's a lot of people have a value about babies totally different than others. Then even if they had the baby accidentally, they just value the existence of a human being at a different level. And I think that is beautiful. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much. Let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. But I think his point of view that he compared that to a miscarriage, to an abortion, is the most stupid thing I've heard in my life.